Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics and Random. Egberto Willis, your host. Thank you so kindly being part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today. I'm kind of hodgepodge today. You know what happened, man? We're trying to get we're doing as you know, we're moving politics done right. Not moving. This stays the same. Don't anybody get in panic. Our 3 o'clock afternoon program remains the same here at YouTube, Twitter, Tumblr, everywhere. But we're moving the noon show to 6 a.m. So today, we were doing all the machinations to get it all working, phone transfers, all that kind of stuff, to make sure that at 6 a.m. in the mornings, the studio transfers to my studio so that we can do the program. It gets back to the studio at KPFT and then goes over the air. So we got all of that. We think we have all of that worked out. I'm still working on some channeling and all that good stuff. How is the eye? Other than being a little scratchy on this side, and I'm using my drops diligently as they have instructed me to do, it's fine. There's one thing though, it seems to me like my near vision was getting better and it's kind of stagnated where I have to kind of look hard to read the screen, all that kind of stuff. And my glasses broke. But anyhow, as it turns out, we're going to have a good show. It also seems like we are going to have on the first day, Monday at 6 a.m. It seems like it's going to be working. Guys in New York, you'll hear it at a las 7, at 7 in the morning. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. 6 a.m. show. I'll sleep right through it. I know you would, Michael. This one is for you. That one is for the early risers. And again, the great thing about it is I get to do it right here. So I'm reconfiguring so that we're reconfigured one way for the 6 o'clock show, and we're configured another way for the 3 o'clock show. All here, no more driving unless I want to go into the studio to do some fundraising for the studio, etc. So, I think it's a partial win kind of a deal. Hey, what can I say? Anyhow, Deb Denny, welcome to Politics Done Right. Bridge MCP, welcome to Politics Done Right. We also have Eric Hayes in the house. Michael Rutnan is in the house, AVQ. We also have Melanie Keelan from Barcelona, Spain. She says, hey, Ed, buddy, 6 a.m. means 1 a.m. here in Barcelona, Spain. Really, I thought it was probably more like midnight Barcelona, Spain, but I guess I've got that all wrong. Also in the house, we have la profesora Bridge MCP está en la casa. She's in the house as well. We also have Peggy Lopez, Lee Grant, May Wood, Paul Fleming Sr., and the one and only, the indistinguishable Yvette Avery Herod, la preciosa hermosa. Yvette Avery Herod, how you doing, Yvette? A lot of good things to happen going forward. Anyhow, we're going to start with El Senor Rodnin, who says, Tampa Bay Times, St. Petersburg, Florida, who remembers, indicted in Russia influence case. A federal indictment unsealed Tuesday accuses members of the Florida St. Petersburg-based Uhuru movement of working on behalf of the Russian government in a campaign to sow discord, spread pro-Russian propaganda, and influence local elections. Omel Yeshtela, the longtime leader of the Uhurus and the chairperson and founder of the African People's Socialist Party, is among the defendants, along with Penny Joan Hess, Jesse Neville, and former Uhuru member Augusto C. Romain Jr., known as Gassi Gadzo. Gassi Gadzo? Zigassi? The four are accused of plotting with Russian nationals to act as agents of Russia in the United States. The charge carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. Yeshitela founded the African People's Socialist Party in 1972. The Uhuru movement became the group's activist arm in the early 1990s. Members have for decades protested against racism, capitalism, and colonialism, and in support of reparations for Black people. In St. Petersburg, Florida, they have historically pressed public officials to right wrongs committed against Black residents. They played a significant role in protests, including those that followed the 1996 police killing of 18-year-old Tyrone Lewis. This is an attack against free speech by Biden's DOJ. Do we have First Amendment rights anymore in this country? We're about to find out. I don't know the story. This is new to me, so I can't comment on the story. But I do want to say something about, let's say, groups that work with Russia or whoever, Russia, Ukraine, or whatever. I always find it suspect that some people in the BIPOC community will allow, and I don't know this story, so don't get me wrong on that. I'm not commenting on this story. This story just triggered something I've been wanting to say for some time. Right now, as you guys know, I, for the most part, support that we need to hold back Russia from invading or from taking over Ukraine. That's just sort of a territorial kind of a thing. I don't want that. That is just in my head, that's a territorial thing. But I don't consider Ukraine all that much different than Russia. We are playing up Ukraine as this great democratic republic and all that good stuff. I'm sorry, I don't buy it. I remember the past. I remember a whole lot of things about Ukraine that, people seem to forget as they sing "Glory, Glory, Hallelujah," the freedom-loving people of Ukraine. For me, this is just a very simple matter. Russia should not disobey the territorial rights of another country. Nothing more, nothing less. No love for Ukraine, no love for Russia. I don't think that the folks who are doing bad in the United States are any better or worse than the folks who are doing bad in Russia and Ukraine. That's just my thought. I would love to hear yours. Don't know what happened here. Anyway, Alistair Waters is in the house. Welcome, Alistair. Bridge MCP also says, Eric, CBS Evening News, in the Hunter Biden tax investigation, IRS agent requests whistleblower protections to talk about political considerations. The attorney for an unnamed IRS criminal supervisory special agent says his client has asked Congress for protection to speak out about allegations that a years-long, high-profile and politically sensitive investigation has been hindered by preferential treatment and politics, according to a letter obtained by CBS News. Seemed to me like this agent also is political, right? That investigation is the one probing potential tax crimes by Hunter Biden. CBS News has learned my client wants to come forward to Congress, said attorney Mark Little, who is representing the agent. He discussed his client's allegations with CBS News chief investigative correspondent Jim Axelrod in an exclusive interview that aired on Wednesday night, CBS Evening News, and streamed across all CBS platforms. He is ready to be questioned what he knows about what he experienced under the proper legal protection. He doesn't need legal protection, is what he's going to say is, oh, so true, right? Look, Biden is a little fish. If you want some big fish, go for the billionaires, man. All right, let's see what else we got here. Michael Rones at 6 a.m. Sure, I'll be sleeping through it. It's going to be 7 your time, Senor Rodnin. It's time for you to wake up. Just kidding, brother. All right, Eric K. says, repeating for effect, Egberto, you would report government fraud, right? Well, why would developers and lawyers be able to get rich via 100% tax deductions on apartments that should somehow benefit the poor? Turner has done it for years in Houston. Ellis, while earning. I heard you say that. Don't just say it. Prove it. All right. Deb Dennis says, hi, folks. Long time no see. How you doing, Deb? Love to see you here. We also have Bree says, I am awake, but not that. Haha, maybe math. I hear you, girl. Paul Fleming says 90% of media is controlled by 15 billionaires and 6 corporations, for your information. And Eric Hayes, don't know what you're saying there, but Melanie says 7 hours ahead of Texas. That's what I thought. That means if it's 6, oh, you were talking afternoon, so it's 1 in the afternoon in Barcelona, Spain. Got you, girl. Got you, girl. Got you, girl. All right, let's see what else we got here. AVQ says, Paul, been that way for a while. What is that you want me to put on the screen? Let's see if that's something I can put on the screen. M is for media. Oh, I love that one. I love that one. Let's go ahead and put on the screen. What we have on the screen, folks, for those of you that are listening to podcasts, is a graphic that shows the media, how the media is controlled by Comcast, News Corp, Disney, Viacom, Time Warner, and CBS. And interestingly, not one of them could I really consider liberal. Even though I think Comcast is what, MSNBC, right? Yeah, let's see what we got. Comcast is NBC, Universal Pictures and Focus Features. News Corp is Fox, Wall Street Journal, and New York Post. Disney is ABC, ESPN, Pixar, Miramax, Marvel Studio. Viacom is MTV, and Nick Jr., BET, Paramount Pictures, and CMT. Time Warner is CNN, HBO, and Time, and Warner Brothers. And CBS is Showtime, NFL, Jeopardy, 60 Minutes. Corporate media lobbied for consolidation, so now you get less real news and a lack of diverse voices. And that's why you have politics done right. That's why you have a lot of more independent media folks taking up the slack. All right, Deb Dennis says, did everyone see that someone sent Lindsey Graham a check with thoughts and prayers in the month after he went on TV begging for people to send money? That would be funny. Just send the check. Thoughts and prayers. That's your check, brother. Paul Fleming says, Ann Coulter says that Republicans show being abortion for Republicans only. Wait. Ann Coulter say that Republicans show being abortion for Republicans. I'm not sure. I missed something there. Anyhow, continuing, we got, no, didn't see that. Haha. All right. What else have we got here? Michael Ronan says, Berto, yes, please look this story up after the live stream. We need to make sure our First Amendment rights remain. I agree. Eric Hayes says $85 billion spent by Biden on Ukraine with no accountability on funds. A black hole of bad. Actually, it's more than that, Eric. And I'm with you on that, sir. I'm with you on that. Come on. Let's see what else we got. Mike C66, DNC, Clinton campaign agreed to steal dossier from funding fined by FEC. Of course, as usual, you know where our guy gets his news. Good try, Mike Cisak. Michael Rudnin says, can someone copy paste? You guys do that for Rudnin, okay? What else we got? Egberto, I don't wake up until 11 a.m. I'm up late every night and get my full 8 hours, sometimes 9. Michael Rudnin, can I borrow your sleep? Can you sell me some of your sleep, please? I need it. Bridge MCP says, Michael Rudnin, Eric Hayes, if you want to talk about Russiagate, check the 2016 election where Russia troll farms spent a few tens of millions in social media ads to influence the election. After that, see how much the mainstream network news media gave Trump in free media. Hint, I say $5 billion. As I'm concerned, the Russiagate story was overblown by MSNBC, was real, but nowhere near as much of the influence as has been claimed by some. I agree. And you know what's even worse? Our mainstream media gave Trump plausibility. And once you have plausibility, you have the possibility of winning the Electoral College. And that's what he did. All right. We got Lee Grant says Disney is liberal and woke. Okay. Then I'm proud of Disney. Michael Renan says Lee Grant probably likes the racist propaganda Disney skits from the 1940s. Lee Grant is not a bad guy. Lee Grant is quite often confused because he can't get the good in him to supersede his republicanism. But he's here every day. And I love having you here every day, Lee Grant. You're going to break sometime. And you're going to come sometime and be a part of the team. Well, you're already a part of the team. You're a member of the PDR posse. What am I saying here? All right, Peggy Lopez says, 4 a.m. Here is the far north of California. Glad you keep the 3 p.m. show for me. Of course, I always said, I told them, I don't remember who is it that I told. I think it was a previous manager. We were supposed to do a 2 o'clock thing, and then I'd have to get back. And I'm like, that will mess with my 3 p.m. show. I can't have it. The only time I changed this show was when I had the emergency with my baby, my daughter, in D.C., and you guys kindly acquiesced to that temporary change. So thank you. Tom C. says, problem with DeSantis is not his pudding fingers, but his pudding head. His anti-democracy fascist personality disqualifies him for president. The proof is in the pudding. You always do that to me. You always come back and get a good one in like that, Tom. All right, Paul Fleming says, abortion ban for Republicans only. I get it now, Paul. I kind of figured it out at the end. But it's true. That's what we should have, you know. Peggy Lopez says, mainstream media still giving too much coverage to Trump. And that's what Rokana said. You remember what I played by Rokana? Rokana said, please don't make the same mistake again. And they're still making the same mistake again. Michael Renner says, Lee Grant's talking about Disney being woke makes me wonder what about Disney he used to like before Disney got woke. He's pulling your strings, Senor Rodman. That's what he's doing. May Wood says, it's a propaganda mill, media bias fact check. Overall, we rate the New York Post up the far end of right center base due to story selection that typically favors the right and makes borderline questionable for factual reporting based. My rating is higher than the New York Post. All right, we have Daniel Lado who says, one day Egberto will see the error he has made of his life and the damage for which he is responsible. We will welcome you back to sanity with open arms. See why I love Lado? At first he was going to convict me. He was going to throw me to the curb. But now he's showing me the love that I need. So when I'm found to be wrong, he will come and take me in with open arms. I thank you so kindly, Mr. Ledo. Bridge MCP says, Berto, if we all sat and talked about things, I bet we are all woke. I know that. In fact, Lee Grant is one of the wokest people out there. He just doesn't realize it. But I still love him. Mike Cisak says, a Russian analyst, a key source for the Steele dossier, paid by the Clinton campaign, was charged with lying to the FBI. Wow. I love the way you spin it. It's okay, but I love the way you spin it. Anyhow, first video of the day. I love what Fox News, what Lawrence O'Donnell did to Fox News because, well, anyway, I'll leave it up to you. But here, let me set it up. Lawrence O'Donnell simply cannot believe how incompetent the leadership at Fox News were, that they could have gotten off with all the lies that they promote on their station if they had just done this.
And for justice. And when we had ticked those two boxes, we felt like we had done what we had come here to do.
And what they did was a huge win. Those lawyers got a stunning summary judgment from the judge in this case, saying that they proved that everything Fox was saying about Dominion was untrue. The judge said they already proved that before trial. The jury wouldn't even have to decide that. And Dominion was very effective in their legal pleadings before the trial, revealing their condemning evidence publicly against Fox, including deposition transcripts, text from Tucker Carlson's phone about how much he hates Donald Trump, and emails from Rupert Murdoch about how crazy Rudy Giuliani is. Many people are complaining that the settlement will not bankrupt Fox. Well, legal judgments and settlements against rich corporations never bankrupt them. So if you were led to believe somewhere that that was possible in this case, I can understand why you would be disappointed by this. The coverage of American jurisprudence concentrates almost entirely on criminal procedure. All of the TV lawyer shows that the networks have been running since Perry Mason in the 1950s have always been about criminal cases. and the sense of satisfaction in the reaching of guilty and not guilty verdicts in those cases, when you hear that verdict, you know that what you are hearing is much more clear and emotionally powerful and clear than it can ever be in civil litigation. Rupert Murdoch stupidly led his company to the losing end of the biggest defamation case in history. The stupidity in the executive offices at Fox and at the anchor desks led to this outcome, which was completely avoidable. Someone at Fox could have said to the people hosting their shows, you can let Rudy Giuliani tell any lie he wants for as long as he wants. And at the end of it, all you have to say is, if that's true, this is a terrible situation and we're going to have to do something about it. And Fox never could have been sued because the host would have said, if that's true. Those are the legal safe words that save you $787 million. And everyone working at Fox was too stupid to know those legal safe words. Rupert Murdoch was too stupid to tell his people to use those legal safe words. And so Fox lost. And truth won.
Yes, it is true that I am disappointed that they didn't go to court, because I would have loved to see Sean Hannity being questioned. Sean, did Donald Trump win this election? Did Donald Trump win the election? Yes or no? Well, what did you say in this text, Sean Hannity? And then they bring up every single one of them. What did you say in this text? Did Donald Trump win or lose? So, I mean, I would have much preferred if they went to court. But that said, all that information is out there and they paid the settlement. It is up to all of us that are in the know to let everybody know how discredited Fox News is. So discredited that they had to give up almost $1 billion, and they're still being sued for another 2-point-something billion. And as Rodnin has put in the chat, it's probably going to open the floodgates for quite a few others. Deb Denny says, Fox has $5 billion in cash reserve. This isn't going to hurt them at all until we have some of the fairness doctrine return. We do need that fairness doctrine return. But here's the deal, Deb. The other people that are going to sue Fox News are shareholders accusing the leadership of the negligence in causing their stock value to drop after losing all that cash on hands. They weren't hoping to give that $5 billion to a whole lot of other people. They were hoping that that was money that could have been buying back stocks, or that could have been money that was going back as shareholder value, that's going back as dividends, etc. So no, it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them. I wanted it, though, to destroy them. All right. Lee Grant says, please note Fox is up and running with record viewership because they are the one and only cable station with that ideology, while the other ideologies must split between NBC and CBS and MSNBC and CNN and all these other networks. So that is not a one-on-one comparison. They have 33% of the market or so. The rest of the market isn't theirs. That's simple. Breach says, fairness doctrine doesn't apply to internet, hence the problem. And that is where, and I wrote a paper a few years ago on net neutrality. Check it out at Common Dreams. Just look up at Common Dreams, Egberto Willis, and I don't remember the other guy that co-authored that paper with me on the net neutrality and why net neutrality is imperative. Deb Denny says, any money awarded by a jury would be tied up in litigation forever. Small companies can't afford that. Fox can. Well, Fox settled with Dominion, which means Dominion is going to have over about 8 times its actual value in cash. Wow. You can't argue that, right? All right, we got E2247 says, top stories to keep an eye on. Russia spy ships in Nordic waters. Cyprus to set up sanctions implementation unit. Russia economy continues to tank. And Mike Cisak believes that the fairness doctrine is violates the First Amendment. I can't see how, but maybe you know something that I don't. Anyway, let's go to the other video. In this other video, we pretty much look at. Let me see how to set this one up, because I want to make sure to do it right. This particular video, and my eyes are getting bad. The senator eventually gets onto the floor. There are 3 incidents that happened this week. Actually, it's now 4. That's well known. Where people have guns, somebody comes close to their vicinity, and they shoot. 1 dies, and several are hurt. And why is that? Because of the amount of guns we continue to put on the streets. Again, Republicans are getting folks killed by following the NRA and what they believe in. Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Over at Fox News, aside from all of those election falsehoods that are going to continue to keep their lawyers very busy in the months to come, the other BS narrative that they sow daily is one related to crime. One that's not rooted in crime statistics, the actual crime statistics about what's actually going on in the street, but instead to apocalyptic zombie crime waves coming to a town square near you. And it's that fear-mongering, coupled with an absolutist view of the Second Amendment, that is the cultural backdrop for what we are covering here with these 3 horrific stories from just the last week. On Thursday, in Kansas City, Missouri, a story you've all heard at this point, a black teenager named Ralph Yarl asked to pick up his younger brothers. 16-year-old mistakenly goes to the wrong house, rings the doorbell. The white homeowner opens the door and shoots Yarl in the head, and then a second time in the arm after Yarl is already on the ground. That man now facing 2 felony charges, including first-degree assault. Thankfully, Yarl is now recovering at home. Then on Monday in upstate New York, 20-year-old Kaylin Gillis traveling in a car with 3 friends when they mistakenly turned into the wrong driveway, something I do at least 4 times a day. They never got out of the car, and as they were already turning around, a guy stepped out of the house and fired into the car. One of the bullets killed Gillis, and the homeowner has been charged with murder. And finally, last night in Texas, a high school cheerleader mistakenly tried to get into the wrong car in a parking lot, something I also do 5 times a day. When she saw an armed man get out, she got back into her friend's car. And when she rolled down the window to apologize, he fired, critically injuring her and grazing another with a bullet. He has since been charged with deadly conduct. Today on the Senate floor, lead gun control advocate and Democratic Senator Chris Murphy delivered a powerful message and warning about the tragic reality summed up by those 3 stories and so many more.
We are becoming a heavily armed nation, so fearful and angry and hair trigger anxious that gun murders are now just the way in which we work out our frustrations. Cheerleaders don't need to be shot when they walk into the wrong car. Teenagers don't need to be murdered because their music is too loud. Kids shouldn't fear for their life when they go to school or when they pick up their siblings from a house in the neighborhood. We can do better. We can adjust the dials in order to decide not to live in this dystopia.
The party who likes to talk about family values. The party that likes to claim it's the party of life. The party that likes to claim that it supports police officers. Absolutely everything having to do with guns turns that on its head. Police departments have pleaded with politicians not to allow these weapons of war to be sold. Americans have pleaded with their politicians not to allow the unfettered access to guns on the streets. In Florida and Texas, anybody can get a gun. No exercise, no real licensing requirements, no real. You want a gun, you get a gun. You want a concealed weapon. I mean, it is simply a culture of guns not because it makes anyone safer, but because it makes a select few a whole lot of money. We went in 10 years from 300 million guns to over 400 million guns here in the United States, more guns than we have human beings. And you don't see it. You don't see that countries that don't have the utter volume of guns that we have. That guy destroyed his life because he lost it when some young girls attempted to open his car. Who knows why he lost it? But you know what he had? Easy access to a gun. That criminal 80-year-old guy in Missouri who saw a black kid, and just for being the black kid was shot. And what did a relative or friend of the 80-year-old said? His mind had been polluted by the right-wing stuff he's been consuming. And what did that piece that we just showed show as well? A Fox News that have its people in a frenzy, thinking that people, all these others, are coming to get them when there's nothing of the sort. In fact, the people who ought to be scared of others are not those who display any kind of scare. Anyhow, let's see what else we got here. Bridge MCP says he started shooting when a basketball. Did you start that one or did, let's see. Bridge says, Macaroni Mike Seaside, do you remember a show called Hannity and Combs? I do remember that. That was Fox News' attempt at appeasing the fairness doctrine. Give the ideas from your political opposition fair time. Never straw man, take each issues in merit. I remember that show very well. He started shooting when a basketball rolled into his yard. Neighbors said now a manhunt is on as the 6-year-old and her parents recover. A manhunt is underway near Charlotte, North Carolina, for a man who reportedly shot a 6-year-old neighbor and her parents after a basketball rolled into his yard, according to several neighbors. The incident began Tuesday when basketball rolled into Singletary yard and he yelled at the kids who want to retrieve it. One of the kids told his father, who then went to Singletary's house and said something to the effect of, "Stop cussing my kid out. If you got a problem, come to me and we can work it out," according to the neighbors. But you know what happens when you got a gun? You think you're hot stuff, you use it. Shakula Hairstylist says, only place guns belong is the military and video games. I hear you, girlfriend. Michael said it's getting even worse. I'm sure conservatives will jump on this one, though, for all the wrong reasons. NBC News, North Carolina man and 6-year-old shot after basketball rolls into suspect's yard. Shakula Hairstylist, guns in video games, I can support. Lee Grant says, with progressive soft on crime policies, we have little choice but to protect ourselves with arms. Name me one progressive soft on crime issue. You can't find it. It's, again, a figment of Fox's imagination to mislead and scare its people. That's all it is. Linwood says, it's really a culture of death in the only way that I can solve a problem is picking up a gun. This goes back to the times when I was a young man and we used to hear them things on TV. I hear you, bro. Deb Denny says, Fox tried to plead the First Amendment. The judge in the Dominion case said the First Amendment doesn't protect against lies and slander. Lynn Wood says, bullets ain't got no name. Stop the violence. This is reminiscent of me being a child in the 90s. Mike Cisak says, Egberto, so you want women to be defenseless? No, I don't. Bad enough you prefer trans over women. Oh my God. I don't prefer trans over women. I love all people. Male, cis. I love everybody. Everybody. Including you, brother Cisak. Sharkula's hairstylist. I play Halo still in my 40s. Okay, Sharkula. Bridge MCP says, protecting yourself when someone rings a bell, get in the wrong car, makes a U-turn, has a ball going to the yard, sick people. These are people that have easy access to the guns. They go ahead and they snap a bit in their head and they use it. That's the whole thing we've been talking about. Peggy Lopez says, the GOP has changed the Second Amendment to allow GOP to develop a right-wing militia that will be directed at us when the GOP can no longer win an election. The GOP tells me this. That is exactly what they're doing. Michael Ronen said, Gilberto, addressing crime is a desperation. Poverty issue is viewed by conservatives as soft on crime approach. Well, they need to go to Appalachia and see that is exactly what's probative. Michael Ronen also says, well, that was a reply. All right, Rick Hayes says, progressive soft on crime policy, defund police, and low. The only people defunding the police right now are Republicans who want to defund the FBI, who want to defund the AT, and all these other organizations. Again, be careful of the things that you spout. All right, let's go ahead. Watch Mayor-elect, Johnson defend rioters who looted stores, shot into crowds, and viciously beat people. I don't think that's what he did at all. I moved here 1.5 years ago, still haven't taken gun out, and we have beers on Main Street. Shakula Hairstylist says, Jim Jordan wants to defund New York. Jim Jordan is one of the biggest clowns out there. But I want you guys to listen to the second to last video. This one is about, let's see how to set this. Let's see how we're going to set this one up. If you take a look at MTG, let's set it up this way. MTG loves to use her mouth and she wants to go on committees in Congress and say as she pleases, but she forgets one important thing. Congress has rules and they can change it when they start the session anytime. And they found it fit, even as we have a legitimate Congress, they found it fit to keep the rules the same. And she found it fit to be the obnoxious, rude, just less of a person type of a way of being. She chose to continue to behave that way. Well, she got her tail handed to her. Check this out.
Today, the House of Representatives was in session, and if Congress was in session, well, then you know Marjorie Taylor Greene was making a fool of herself. During a hearing by the Homeland Security Committee on which she sits, the Georgia Republican Congresswoman berated DHS Secretary Alexander Mayorkas about fentanyl.
How long are you going to continue this outrage, complete outrage, where China is poisoning America's children, poisoning our teenagers, poisoning our young people? How long are you going to let this go on?
Congresswoman, let me assure you that we're not letting it go on. We are fighting this.
No, I reclaim my time. You're a liar.
I asked that the words be taken down.
Committee will suspend. The gentleman will state the words that he wishes to be taken down.
The gentlelady referenced the secretary and called him a liar.
Making a ruling on this, it's pretty clear that the rules state you can't impugn someone's character. Identifying or calling someone a liar is unacceptable in this committee. And I make the ruling that we strike those words.
My understanding is if words are taken down, that means that the member can no longer speak in whatever the proceeding is that those words were said.
Personal inquiry, point of personal inquiry.
There's no such thing.
Stand by just a second. In consulting the rules of the House, when we strike, it does terminate the time of the individual who is speaking. So the gentlelady is no longer recognized.
Personal inquiry, there's no such thing. Now, on one hand, it's not clear how many people saw this stunt, though you just did. Most of America doesn't spend their day watching C-SPAN. It could backfire on her in some ways. One report says the Republican chair of that committee, as you saw there, that's Chairman Greene, was furious with Marjorie Taylor Greene's behavior and plans to reprimand her.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, and he plans on reprimanding her. I wonder why he's planning on reprimanding her. You know why? He's planning on reprimanding her because, well, She doesn't know the rules, and she thinks she can say as she pleases. And you know what happened? It caught up with her. So what can I say? You know what, Mike C, let me just do a quick grab here. Because Mike Cizek like to, it's funny when folks are losing an argument, they like to go ahead and hyperventilate on all the wrong things, right? So I'm going to give Mike Cizek a little piece of his medicine. You like to talk about, what did you say? Did you say that, nobody watches? Let me just show you the last few weeks, okay? I don't normally do this, but I don't want other people that are watching and listening think that there's some validity to what you're saying, okay? So just for your sake, Mr. Cizek, this is what my podcast looked like over the last few weeks, okay? So check out the numbers. Nobody watches is 247,000 people, not anybody. Is the audience size for this week of 687 people just for the last few days? Nothing? Okay, so let's get it straight here, sir. All right? Just want to let you know that. Madre mia, carajo. You think you can't win an argument? Try to stay, my brother. Engage. Don't try to make things that aren't the case. Okay? I think now you stand corrected. Madre mía, esta gente a veces no sé lo que está pasando con ellos. Anyway, let's continue the show. Para ver. Michael Ronan says, MTV is in a deep red district. MTG hasn't embarrassed herself enough for conservatives to cover their faces in shame. A primary will eventually get MTG out. You have to worry about the next Republican coming from there. All right, so let's go ahead and play that last one on NTV because I think the MTG one is pretty cute. Well, wait a minute. We did the MTG. What I want to do is I want to show you the one with the killers in Oklahoma. That one I think is disconcerting, but real. When we talk about certain things, people say, well, what are you talking about? That can't be real. Well, it is. I want you to listen to this, and then we'll take it on the other side. As this Oklahoma set of governors, or, the people that run the county, check out what they did.
We've got some news out of Oklahoma. Yesterday, we played you audio of a local sheriff and county officials appearing to discuss murdering two journalists, along with reminiscing about lynching. Today, one of those officials has resigned.
They're insignificant in my life.
Yes.
They bring
Don't say this. Goes around.
It will. I told you it will.
Yeah.
I know where two big deep holes are here every day.
I got an excavator.
These are already pre-dug.
That is some of the audio. The third voice on that clip, McCurtain County Commissioner Mark Jennings delivered a handwritten resignation letter to Governor Kevin Stitt this morning. Jennings wrote that he planned to release a formal statement in the near future regarding the recent events in our county. At the request of Governor Stitt, the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation confirms it is now investigating the officials.
And that is a real problem with proving things a whole lot, right? If that reporter didn't have that voice activated tape in there, all this stuff would have been happening without anybody knowing. They might have even hired the hitman to get those two reporters who are reporting the truth. Maybe, who knows? But now they have to be careful because everybody knows that they believe in lynching. Everybody knows that they would hire a Louisiana hitman if it became necessary in their opinions, right? And you know how we know this? They said it. They said it. And listen to Mike Cizek now. This proves that leftists have no sense of humor. Did that sound like humor to you? Didn't sound like humor to me, but of course that's how they're going to try to pass it off. These killers didn't sound like humans. It sounded like things they've likely done before. Bridge MCP says, Lee only on extreme right side. Shame on you, brother. Let's see. Shakula Hairstylist says, that's why the Jews run comedy. And Eric Hayes says, replying to Yvette Avery-Herod, her term ends in 2025. Carl Cox says, Mike Cisak is a major league. I won't say the word. All right, let's see. I didn't see that comment from Paraver. Let me scroll up. I didn't see a comment from Yvette, but somebody answered Yvette. Let's see what we got here. Shakula, Bridge, Eric Lopez. Michael Rudden is upset at a few. Let's see what else we got here before we go, because we're coming very, very close to the end of the show, but I want to make sure that I cover everybody before I get done here. Okay, Yvette says MTG is a complete troll. Can't wait until she is out. And yeah, it's gonna be a while before she's out, Yvette. Unfortunately, it's gonna be a while before she's out. Yvette says also, I know we can only hope something happens to speed it up in the interim. You know what, Yvette? Something could happen because she is so volatile. It wouldn't surprise me if she does something that warrants her being kicked out of Congress. You know, they were so easy to kick out Justin Jones and Justin Pearson, right? But hey. All right, Mike Cisak says, Egberto won't even believe news sources he uses. When it talks about things he refuses to acknowledge. That's not true. Prove what you're saying is true if you're going to say it, Sir Cisak. But that's not true. Mike is in the house, and Eric Hayes says, well, the Phil Gay needs to be gone too. Carl Cox says, MTG loves the phrase saying, Sieg Heil, that Russian Nazi phrase. Anyhow. We are coming close to the end of the show, so what I'd like to ask all of you is to remember to share the programs. That's how we get more throughputs, and that's how we'll even make Mike Cisak more happy. If we can get hundreds of thousands, Mike Cisak will be very happy. I did, Egberto. I pushed a bunch of links, but you refused to read them, blowing them off. I blow off links that don't make sense or don't come from reputable sources. Give me a good source. I may consider reading it. We always have good sources from Rudnen, from Yvette, from Bridge MCP. We even sometimes get some good ones from Eric Hayes whenever he forgets about using the right wing crazy side of the journalistic cesspool. Peggy Lopez says, stop calling Marjorie Taylor MTG. Marjorie is delusional and thinks she, if equal to AOC, stop giving her the wish Marjorie has for herself. She is not in the same league with AOC. AOC is very intelligent and has a strong intellect. I remember interviewing AOC at Netroots 2016, or is it 2016? One of the Netroots, and I told her straight up she was going to win, and I told her about how her intellect is second to none in Congress. Let me just tell you that. Her intellect is second to none in Congress. She's just a very smart woman. And you know what's the best part? She's young. She's young. All right. Let's see. Shakula Hairstylist says, yep, nobody wants to hear no gross 4chan jokes. Exactly. Bridge MCP say, I get what you're saying, Peggy Lopez. It's the letters. Or it's the letters. All right. She thinks she wants letters so that, like it's cool to be AOC. It's cool to be, but what the heck? We don't have to follow those things. Come on, that was a mistake. Don't do that. Anyhow, folks, please support the program. You can go to politicsdoneright.com/support. politicsdoneright.com/support. Let me put that link on the screen. I'll put that one as the first one, but alternatively, there are various different ways for you to support our program. You can support our program by going via PayPal, politicsdoneright.com. politicsdoneright.com/PayPal, politicsdoneright.com/PayPal. You can also support us on Patreon. We need a lot more patrons. politicsdoneright.com/Patreon. Patreon is spelled Patreon. Patreon. We cannot do this without you. Likewise, if you're on YouTube, why don't you just click that join button? Become a part of our PDR posse. And, you know, being a part of the PDR posse means you are an extension of what we do to ensure that we get truth out. And not the kind of truth that some would want you to believe, but the truth that is verifiable, repeatable. In other words, the truth. And of course, you can join as well on Facebook if you prefer Facebook. We have every particular or necessary avenue for you to support our show. Get our books at politicsdoneright.com/books. I'm sure you'd get quite a bit out of our books. The books, I promise you, will enlighten you. Every single one of them. They all stand alone, but they can all stand as a group. As I see it, Class Warfare. And the second one is How to Talk to Your Right-Wing Relative Neighbors. That is, it's worth it. And the last one is How to Make America Utopia. Take away the economy from those who rigged it. I guarantee you, you will love these books. So please support us however you can. Where is my PDR cowboy hat, Egberto? I got to find a manufacturer for the cowboy hat. For now, we have to stick with the one that our beautiful Alistair Waters is wearing. That kind of one that you use on the beach, you know what I mean? Alistair loves it. She wears it. In fact, I had the picture on. Michael Rodney says, replying to Breach MCP, the funny thing, when a conservative sends over a good link, I skim through it, then copy-paste a relevant segment, usually to show that they didn't read post the headline. Anyhow, folks, I'm going to cut out here a bit early. Got to go continue doing some simulation for our Monday morning show. Thank you so kindly, all of you, for being here. My name is Egberto Willis. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. How is it that I end it again? I am what? Out. Where's my song? All right. You know how I end this baby. I'm what? I'm out. We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number 1, subscribe to our channel, and number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.